very much, and I'll look forward to you possibly delivering some of those dogs and chips and Coke products up to the booth next week. Would you do that?
Only if one delivers me a blueberry muffin from Perkins.
I think we might be able to work out a little exchange there, okay? That'll be a fun night over at the Fergus Falls football field. It's homecoming next week for the Comets of Hillcrest also, as they've got Ashby coming in for an afternoon game at 3:30 at the Hillcrest field, so big week ahead. But for right now, we're going to concentrate a little bit on the week that was just completed in high school football, and let's start with our scores. Last night, the top-ranked Detroit Lakes Lakers brought a 31-game winning streak into Fergus Falls, and the Otters sent them home with a loss, 29-27. And I'm sure a lot of people all over the state waking up to that one and kind of shaking their heads. It was Verndale 31, Hillcrest 20. Comets lose for the first time in 5 games. War Road beat Perham 16-7, spoiling the Yellow Jackets' homecoming game. Frazee won 14-11 over Roseau. Breckenridge went to Mahnomen and won 18-6. Dilworth Glendon Felton had a battle with Otter Tail Central, but beat the Bulldogs 14-6. It was to talk about his Comets in just a moment. The Spartans play today at Normandale at 1:30, and it's homecoming at Concordia. The Cobbers hosting St. Thomas, and NDSU has a home game at 7 tonight in the Fargo Dome against Mankato State. UND plays out in northern Colorado, and Moorhead State is home against Northern State of Aberdeen, with the University of Minnesota Morris playing at Winona State. Today is also the day that the Otter Girls Swimming Invitational will be held, as the meet gets underway with diving at 10:30 this morning, timed finals at 2 o'clock this afternoon at the middle school pool. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll visit with Coach Richard Risbrudt of the Hillcrest Comets right after this. Back at Perkins Family Restaurant and Bakery with Coach Richard Risbrudt of the Hillcrest Comets, going up against Verndale yesterday, and a lot of pre-game billing on this one, Coach, with 2 top 10 ranked teams, and you've had some battles with Verndale through the years, and both have outstanding football programs through the years. And it was played in a rain probably throughout the game. It started to rain shortly before the game, probably during your pregame warm-ups. And did that have any effect on the game? I always think of a team like Hillcrest being affected more in a situation like that, maybe neutralizing some of your speed.
Well, we think it did, Craig. We were hoping it would just be a cloudy, cool day, but then when I went outside before the game started on our pregame, and we realized the drizzle was coming down, and it looked light clouds in the west, and I thought it would quit, but it continued on, and we really can't blame it on the rain, but it did affect our footing out there with regards to cutting, inside and or planting the feet to make the throw or to make a cut on the route or whatever. But it made a difference, and especially in our football field, Craig, where the field is crowned, it makes it very difficult to take and cut against the grain when and go back uphill again, when your momentum is going downhill, and then the grass is slippery and you cut back up again. So there was some of that, but where Verndale runs the ball pretty much straight ahead, and not so many counters, but a lot of powers and sweeps, it had a effect. I thought it affected us more than them, but it was more than just the slippery grass yesterday.
Well, they got up on you early with a punt return and big plays. You've kind of lived by big plays through the years, with some huge plays making a big difference in big ball games for the Comets. I think you've got a reputation of being a big play team, and you don't give up a lot of big plays normally, it seems, but Verndale got one early and took some momentum right away.
They did. We elected to receive after we won the toss, and the way put us against the wind. There wasn't much of a wind, but it was kind of a gentle breeze in which the drizzle was going, and we I don't know if we got a first down or not, but we moved the ball a little bit, and they had to punt, and they took the punt and went 50 yards for a touchdown. Hinkle ran it in, and so they got momentum right away, and we held the extra point, but they had 6-0, and we mentioned, we never been down before in the year, and we knew, it could very well happen, and wondered how the guys would react, down by 1, and then when they got the second one, we were down 14-0, or 12-0, where it was, and again a concern because we were down by 2, but then in the second quarter, the guys really dug in. We put the ball in the air. David Selvig did a good job passing. I think it was 14 for 17 in the first half, and we put 3 touchdowns on the board, and so tied it up 20-20. So that was good to see our guys come back right in the first half.
Boy, that kind of passing will test any defense, and Verndale, I know, has always had a pretty tough, strong defense, but they're not used to seeing, I don't think, the efficient passing game that the Comets have showed this year. And really, you're clicking up front. The blocking is there. Your receivers are tough to beat. You've got a great assortment of receivers. And have you ever had anybody that throws the ball as well as Selvig? That's saying a lot because you've had some good quarterbacks.
Well, we've had some good quarterbacks. He certainly throws it as good as the ones we've had before, and we're pleased for that. We also got good receivers this year, though, Craig. Jay Estebo catch the ball. Michael Levang, of course, going down and out. David Fulton had 3 touchdowns all on the pass yesterday. So we got guys that can catch the ball. Mike Olstead has got very good hands at the flanker. Even Scheid, when he comes in for Olstead, has good hands. And so we got receivers that can catch the ball. Reiner can back out of the backfield, running and blocking, and can catch the ball. We got people there that can do it. It's just we got to be able to get it to them in the key situations. We had an excellent second quarter, and we had good momentum going into the second half. But they played ball control in the second half and ran 23 more plays than we did, Craig, and that makes a big difference. And when you take the possession on the clock and control the ball and move the ball down the field, at short yard situations and just keep hitting those first downs, it takes a lot out of your defense.
Yeah, that playing defense that much will wear you down in a hurry. You feel it out there defensively.
Yeah, we thought Michael Levang did a good job on defense. Jay Estebo, they were in on 22 tackles, and they play a lot of times opposite each other. Jay is our cornerback back there, and when you're in on that many tackles, you know that you are, you have a nose for the football. There was some situations where I saw Michael running down the field, and I could see him accelerate, and just a little extra effort, helped him get the tackle, and so that's what we need to do next game.
I listened to Oates for a while yesterday when I had the opportunity, and he was talking about the hard hits that were being delivered, and it was a very hard-hitting football game. And he also was raving about David Fulton's one touchdown catch, I think from 11 or 12 yards out, where he laid himself out as far as he could and extended and still caught the ball. He was saying that's an NFL catch right there.
It was. He went down and came across the middle, and Selvig was scrambling and threw the ball, and he made a diving catch and for a touchdown. That was really a big play for us. He caught the first touchdown pass on a 47-yarder. We sent him around the backside, and Dave Selvig, with David pass, I guess, but threw the ball a long ways in the air, and the timing was perfect, and we got behind secondary and scored that first touchdown 47 yards out. And then that second touchdown where he made the diving catch was a 10-yard pass, and just an excellent catch like Oates had mentioned. And then before right before the half, we were able to score again, and we threw a quick out to David, and then he dived in for that touchdown. So just 3 excellent touchdowns for him in that second quarter.
When Verndale has recorded their big seasons or their big win numbers during the years, it seems like they've always been a power type of a football team. There have been a couple of years when they've been able to open it up with some passing as well, but how would you qualify this team? Are they basically a power football team for Verndale, or can they mix things up and test you through the air?
Well, we consider them a power football team, but yesterday they did some things that, I was surprised. They did a shuffle pass that got them the first down on a key situation in the first half, and they can also throw the ball. But Eric Runyon, their quarterback, is also an excellent scrambler, and if we don't break down in rushing him, well, he'll just run around and scramble, and it makes another offensive weapon for them. And so they caught us in a situation there in the first half where we had a couple of guys playing zone and the other ones playing man, and so the coverage was open there on the right-hand side, and they got that second touchdown on a 25-yard pass from Runyon. It was Melvin that caught the pass, number 35, and so we got to work on that this week, whether or not we're in a man or in a zone, because we got to know, everybody needs to know who's in what coverage at the same time, and we just got a little mix up on that one. That gave them their second touchdown, and it caused us some problems there. We had to go to the air then in the second quarter, and we were able to do so, score 20 points, but we just couldn't do it in the third and fourth quarter. They just played good, hard-hitting football, and we physically couldn't stay with them in the second half. If we could have scored early, Craig, and forced them to go to the air, I think it would have been a lot different game. Maybe not score-wise, but certainly it would have been a little bit more interesting in the second half.
You know, I look at the schedule, Coach, and I see these teams, Underwood, Hancock, Wheaton, Verndale. There are no easy nights in this conference, as we have talked about before. And you look at your emotional win last week over at Wheaton, and I don't know, during the season, I'm sure you can sense it as coaches, ups and downs in momentum, not only during the games, but during practice, during the weeks of preparation. How did you feel coming into the game yesterday after a big victory at Wheaton? How did the team respond during the week, and what were your feelings going into that game?
You really want to know, Craig?
Yes, I do.
Well, if you really want to know, we didn't really have a very good week of practice. It wasn't, we had a great win at Wheaton, and but we got beat up physically. And we had to do some. When guys are healing up, we can't do everything we want to do in practice, and because we have to limit our contact. And if we don't do any contact during the week, it seems like when you play in the next game, it isn't quite there. And so you have to, on Tuesdays especially, we have to have some contact. We're not able to do that much because David Folden hurt his thigh, and Voster with his back. David Selvig has had some back problems. Peter Swenson injured his shoulder. And Jay Estebo injured his knee. So when we have 5 guys like that, Michael Levang was, hurt his arm against Wheaton. So we just decided we're going to take a week where we're going to have to heal up, and why bang each other in practice and injure them, further and go into the game, injured against a big team like Verndale. And so it limited what we could do at practice. We talked about that, and the guys were thinking we didn't give 110% during practice this week, but it was also partly because we were trying to heal ourselves up as well, and so that was a big part of it. And going into the game, I knew physically we weren't quite ready to go against Verndale team, and so I was happy to be up, in the second quarter where we tied at 20-20. That was great. We were just fortunate to be there at that point. If we could have scored a touchdown early in the third quarter, maybe the game would have been different. We don't know, but if we could get up, our goal was to get ahead of Verndale there in the second half, and then force them to go in the air. And but they just stayed in their running game and consistent, and dragged up a lot of yards rushing. So the practices do make a difference, though, and we talked about that, and it's going to be different this week.
How did you come out of yesterday's game? Any other injuries or?
Well, nobody said anything because their heads were all down. But no, we got a good football team, Craig, and we talked about that. We can't be pointing any fingers about this mistake or this person did, because everybody, when we win as a team, and when we lose as a team. And so everybody has their part, and everybody's got to look at not what somebody else did, but what can I do next time to make myself a little bit better. And if these guys will listen now and go by what we think that we need to do to win the next game, we'll be okay.
And realistically, I don't think any team in this conference can expect to go through the season undefeated. You're going to run into a week where you're going to have problems, whether it's injuries or execution or whatever. It's just too tough a conference.
Well, if somebody does go through the conference undefeated, they're an excellent football team, and plus they got luck on their side.
Absolutely.
They have to have the ball bounce their way in a number of situations, because when you got the schedule that we have, it's very difficult. And I'll tell you another team that's tough, Craig, and that's Clinton Graceville.
Yeah.
Wait, they're going to surprise people, just like at the end, like last year at the end of the season. They, we're 2-5 in our conference. They wound up 4th in the state, and that says a lot for any team. And they're doing the same thing again this year. And so, we don't want to look past Ashby. We'll, concentrate on them this week. But with Clinton Graceville and Chicago, the last 2 games of the season, it's going to be very difficult.
And it is possible you'll wind up playing Verndale again.
Well, it is. It helps that we beat Wheaton. What would really make it interesting that if in the scheduling, if Wheaton would beat Verndale now, and to have a 3-way tie there, if Chicago is above everybody else, which everybody thinks probably right now, but Chicago, Alberta has some 2 tough games at the end of the year too. They have to play Hancock, and then they play Wheaton, and then they play us in the last game of the season. So we're gonna try to match up with them as best we can.
It's gonna be a fun few weeks, isn't it?
I think so. The next 2 Fridays and that following Wednesday will, be some interesting football.
Boy, we're that close, aren't we? 2 Fridays and a Wednesday.
That's
right.
Right.
Into playoffs.
Yeah.
Wow.
It'll be like 3.5 weeks away.
I've always said football just flies, the fall. No question about it. Now, Ashby, homecoming game on Friday, 3:30. Of course, Oates will have that one on 12:50 KBRF AM, and old home week for you, of course, being from Ashby. And the Arrows have struggled this year.
They have, but they got good football players, and we're looking forward to playing them at our homecoming game. We went down and watched them play Chicago last night. down at Ashby. And of course, Chicago is a powerhouse, and it was a lopsided football game, but they have some talented football players and can score quickly, either a pass to West Ness or running it with Torgrimson running the team, and Finkelson carrying the ball, and this new Sweet kid they got down there in the second half certainly ran the ball very good for them. So they got big guys in the line, a few of them. So it's going to be we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a good football game for us. We need that one going into our homecoming game, and we don't want it to be another Detroit Lakes Fergus Falls thing where maybe one team expects to win, and then Fergus comes in and lets them have it. So, football is a mental game, Craig. We're certainly learning that, and when the mental attitude is there, and it makes a big difference in how the game turns out.
And, of course, homecoming week coaches always worry about other things, distractions, and so on. It's so much more than the football game at Hillcrest.
It is. There's a lot of activities going on, and it starts basically on Wednesday with a volleyball game between the underclassmen and senior. Then we have our Pep Fest on Thursday. We have the game on Friday. We have 2 junior varsity football games on Saturday morning, and from there we switch over from the fun part of it to the spiritual part of it with our services on Saturday and Sunday. So it's a good weekend for us.
Not that the spiritual part of it isn't fun.
Oh yes, it can be very much.
Okay, I wanted to clarify that.
Yes, our junior varsity, our C team has our 9th and 10th graders have a football game under the lights at Rotsey this Monday night at 7 o'clock, so they're looking forward to that game.
Yeah, they don't get to do that too often.
Not too often.
All right.
Not when they get to start the whole game and end the whole game, so they're looking forward to that game. They've been looking forward to it all year.
Well, Coach, get everybody healthy, and we'll look forward to Friday.
Good. I thank Stu for letting me go in first today.
No problem.
He could. It was a good thing because he probably talked for 2 hours about the game last night, so I'm glad to get on. But we got invited to the Concordia football game today, our team. We're taking our seniors up there, going to have breakfast and go watch a football game. So we thank the Cobbers for doing that.
Sounds good. Have fun.
Okay, Craig.
Coach Richard Risbrudt of the Hillcrest Comets. We'll be back with Don Stuvey of the Otters.